There's something I come across a lot of when it comes to my clients, when it comes to families that I'm working with. I don't work with a lot of families right now, but I still have a lot of clients where I get involved with their families because they're people that I come to care about really deeply. And that is that families typically struggle with boundaries. Now, let me explain this a little bit. I'll explain some common boundaries. A lot of families struggle. They think that, hey, listen, I'm gonna be willing to do something for you, but now you owe me. Or, yeah, you can do something for me, but now I feel this burden of owing you. That's a heavy burden to put on families, and yet a lot of families, I don't know if I would say most families, maybe the majority of families, struggle with this on some level. Now, what boundaries are, the idea of boundaries is that you've got, just like physical boundaries, we have emotional boundaries. So they're meant to protect us and to keep the right distance from everyone. Now, a family that struggles with boundaries, a family that are, I do something for you, but then you owe me, and you do something for me, and I owe you, and no one knows what the score is anymore, and we all just owe each other all the time, and then you feel bad about saying no, even if it's going to cost you something that you're not willing to give up. Sometimes I've seen it where kids are, that's the cost is kids, because adults are all trying to figure things out and help each other out in really odd ways. And kids often suffer in those kind of situations. So if this fits you, if you're thinking about it and going, yeah, you know what, this is something that we struggle with. A boundary is simply saying there's a line here, and we have to have priorities. Yes, my family is extremely important. Maybe my kids are more important than my parents, because I have responsibilities to them. And I'm going to talk about kids here for a minute, because this is extremely important to me. It's something that hits me really hard. Anyone can have a kid. Almost anyone can have a kid. And that's a problem in our culture. I'm going to encourage you, if you don't have kids yet, really think hard before you have kids. Ask yourself, why do I want kids? It's the thing to do. For dogs, we often go, a lot of people, they're well educated or that are enlightened, will go to dog classes. And a really famous, probably the most famous dog educator at any time, said the dogs don't need the training, the owners need the training. And it's the same with kids. How many people, you go to prenatal classes or whatever, and you get some training about the birth process, but how many parents really have any training with kids? And again, kids don't need the most training. It's parents that need the majority of the training. If we're not caring for our kids, when we're doing things for them, if actually we're taking care of our own emotional junk, we put that on them. We're not actually taking care of them. We're giving them our baggage. What a boundary is looking at your priorities, looking at your children, looking at your partner, at the people that are most important, including yourself, because yourself needs to be the most important. And if it isn't, if you have a really strong reaction to even that statement that you need to be more important than your partner, your kids, anyone else in your life, then it shows that you're kind of sick in this way. Sick not in a demented way, but that you're confused. Your belief systems are off. If you don't take care of yourself, again, the oxygen mask idea, you don't take care of yourself, then you're not taking care of others around you properly. You're actually stealing from them, because you're now using them to meet your emotional needs in odd ways, in strange, kind of twisted ways. Again, not twisted in evil. That's not what I mean by that. I mean, it's twisted from what true love is, true care for people are. We've got these weird ideas in our culture, and they're perpetuated through families. Now, one word you can look up, if you want to learn more about this, look up the word enmeshed online, and when you talk to family dynamics, and you'll find out a little bit more, okay? But what I wanted to really cover quickly is boundaries. What a boundary is saying, I have certain priorities in my life, and I'm not willing to give to other people if it costs me something that I need to protect. So, for example, your time. I learned long ago that my time is extremely valuable. Being an entrepreneur, being a business person, a lot of my time is liquid time. I don't have a booking in the morning usually where I say, this is what I need to do from from 6:30 till 7 o'clock in the morning. I've got an appointment with myself doing this. I typically, I mean, that's how I think now, but I didn't start off that way. Now when people ask me, hey, do you have some time today or tomorrow? I say, I'm booked. Because I am. Because I need to invest in myself and my business. Because when I invest in myself and my business, I'm investing in myself. I'm feeling full, and when I'm full, when I'm not feeling empty, then I can invest in others in a really unique way and give to them in a really unique way. When I am able to do that with my family, when I've got a strong family life, then I'm able to invest in others in a really unique way. So much for so busy running around like headless chickens, trying to take care of little fires and putting them out all over the place, that we're not taking care of the most important people in our lives, including ourselves. And when that happens, we get drained. So if you are feeling, these are typical symptoms, if you are feeling drained, if you're feeling like burnt out with family stuff or people in general, often the case is that you're giving a lot at the cost of yourself. And if you give at the cost of yourself, or you give at the cost of your family, crazy things happen. There was somebody who died not long ago, and he was this world famous human being who spoke to hundreds of thousands of people at a time. And yet his family sucked. He never spent time with his family. And so I want to encourage you, male, female, whatever. To me, it's not important the sex of an individual. To me, it's more important going, if you have family, you have responsibility. So start living up to that responsibility. Your parents or your relatives, you don't have to live to their expectations. Live to your expectations of being a great mother, father, partner, spouse, whatever it is, okay? Those are the most important. If you're taking care of those first, you will need to say no to certain things in families. We've said no to tons of family stuff. And you know what? It's cost us sometimes. People have been angry with us sometimes. That's okay. That's okay. They'll get over it. If we're continuing to care for them, if we're not doing it in a rude, obtuse way, they'll get over it, and we'll learn and grow together, and we'll be good in the end. I can think of specific things that have changed since the time that my wife and I were married, Teresa and I were married, that it's changed in our families. And now, you know what? Initially, when you draw up a boundary, initially when you say no to somebody, that's not going to work. What happens is you get feedback that's negative, okay? People are really angry. Maybe people give you the cold shoulder. Everyone's family has their own like little issues, whatever ways they deal with these things, right? Having said that, after a while, if a good boundary is to protect yourself so that you can invest in others, so that you can be all there in life in general. And when you set up a good boundary like that and you are there for others, long term, family will be okay. Family will be okay. And if they're not, that's not on you. That's on them. If you are doing things in a respectful, kind, generous way that takes care of you first, and then your family, starting with your kids and your partner and everyone else, you know what? Everyone will be fine. But you've got to have your priorities in the right place. If you don't, things fall apart, and you don't want the cost of that. Here's the context that I'm speaking in. I've had a lot of clients, especially early on in my career when I was a therapist, who struggle with addictions. This is what I found. There are two patterns that I see in almost all addictions. And I'm talking about serious addictions, okay? I'm talking about gambling, sex addictions, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, those kind of things, all right? In those addictions, two things that I see over and above anything else is I find children that have grown up, either they've been sexually abused or they've grown up in an enmeshed family, a family that doesn't have strong boundaries. And when those things exist, one or the other, or both, sometimes it's both, your kids are going to struggle. So again, go to take some parenting classes. Buy some books. I'm going to actually recommend a book, okay? Hold On to Your Kids is a brilliantly written book. It's all about attachment and understanding how kids connect and how you as a parent need to be far more important than friends in your lives. Now listen, this video is not meant to shame anybody. It's not meant to put down anybody. It's meant to challenge you and encourage you. So if you're offended a little bit, good. Be offended a little bit, okay? And learn and grow. Invest in your kids, okay? In spite of being offended. And if you're not offended, if you go, you know what, I've struggled with that and my family struggles with that, invest in yourself a little bit, okay? So again, the book is Hold On to Your Kids. It's a really strongly written book that's going to give you the basics of understanding that. If you want a book on boundaries and you go, you know what, I struggle with boundaries. What I'll do is I'll provide a link in this video of a good book. I'm not thinking of the author's name right now. It's escaping me. So I'll find that link and send it with this video, all right? Enjoy.